with all the stimulus packages that have done absolutely nothing, I mean, we're still seeing unemployment rise. I think just in September, the numbers was 93,000 jobs, I think, lost in September. And so the government has spent trillions of dollars on stimulus, and it's done absolutely nothing to provide any kind of meaningful growth in jobs. It has pumped up the market. The liquidity has made the stock market rise, and unfortunately, a lot of people think that the Dow is the economy, and it really isn't. That's just a representation of some particular companies, but it doesn't represent what's going on as a whole. And so, right now we have about 1 in 5 people who are unemployed or underemployed, and there doesn't seem to be any change in this that for many years to come. I mean, if we were going to see something happen, job-wise, we would begin to see growth by now, and we would not see 93,000 more jobs lost in September. I mean, at a minimum, we would see no jobs lost and begin to see something continuing to increase across the board. Also, the real estate market appears that it's in its recollapse mode. Here in California, I can drive down many streets and you'll see empty houses all over the place, and the prices continue to fall. My wife, being a realtor, I mean, she just talked to some people just yesterday that had an idea that their house was, they could sell it for $460,000 or something, and after the market analysis that she gave them, they're looking at more like $360,000, which is still a lot, but if you owe more than what you can sell it for, it doesn't work. And another item on that is that there's a lot of programs out there that the federal government has put out to help people refinance their houses, and unfortunately, it doesn't help the people who are most likely to benefit from it. And I'll use in a case like us. We have a first and a second, and we can't refinance our second into our first because we don't have enough equity, because the equity limits now are so high. We don't have enough equity to refinance, even though we're making the payments. We don't have a problem, but we wanted to roll that in so that we don't have to worry about the interest rates going up and our second rising, monthly payments rising on that. So we're stuck. Nothing we can do. The gross domestic product seems to be going backwards. I mean, the GDP is getting smaller and smaller, it appears, because we continue to, like I said, lose jobs. And as people lose jobs, then there's fewer and fewer people to be able to buy things. And the ones that can buy things, we're kind of cutting back because we don't want to spend money unnecessarily. So we're cutting back. We're losing money to inflation because if you look at the cost of food is really going up. But gas has gone up here in California. We lost, credit availability, and just an example of what I just gave you about not being able to refinance our house because they don't have any programs to help out people who are actually making their payments. So a lot of people are being unemployed and having not as much money as they used to. Now they're starting to use up their savings, buying less things, sticking more to the things that we really need, food and energy and just those kind of things. So those things alone kind of portend what's going to be the continuing trend. In addition, we're seeing gold and silver. Gold and silver both have risen to new highs in the last month or so, and I expect them to continue to go up because a lot of people are, not only people, but countries are beginning to understand that all the fiat paper currencies are worthless, and so they're getting more and more gold as reserves, and many people, although it's not a bubble because there's still a relatively small amount of people who actually own physical gold and silver, but it's still, the prices of those are going up. And not only that, but we're seeing the European central banks have begun to stop selling gold, and the U.S. Mint has halted sales of 1-ounce gold coins. So we're kind of seeing some pullback on that, and then you kind of wonder if and when the government will begin to look at ways to restrict even purchasing gold or the sale of gold. They did it. The government confiscated gold back in the 30s, and there's